What is up, everybody? It is your boy, Pigskin Pete. Happy Friday to everybody. Quick video today about a change, an apparent change in sports broadcasting, quote unquote, mainstream sports media. In this case, ESPN. So ESPN has been suffering for the past couple of years. Well, ever since 2020, we all know all of the different events that took place in 2020 that led to ESPN becoming kind of a joke of a sports network outside of broadcasting live sports, right? There was a time, well, I say that time, I'm 42 years old, about to turn to 43. My entire life, pretty much, ESPN was it. Not just at live sports broadcasting, but all the different talk shows, Sports Center, everything about ESPN was great. And they took a turn for the worst starting in 2020. And we all know they did a bunch of layoffs. They're losing money hand over fist with their daytime programming, which was just absolutely terrible, and in a lot of ways still is absolutely terrible, unwatchable. I don't watch it. I mean, I don't turn on ESPN during the day and watch the daytime talk shows. They're all the same. They get two guys on there. They argue back and forth about different points. It's not even believable that what they're arguing about they actually believe. It's just arguing for arguing's sake, yelling over each other. I mean, just really bad. And also very political, right? Which is what turned a lot of people off following 2020. So they go out and they acquire Pat McAfee. This is not about Pat McAfee. This is about ESPN. I don't care what you think about Pat McAfee. There seems to be a lot of people that don't like him, especially being on game day. I see a lot of stuff on Twitter about, who is this Pat McAfee guy? He's obnoxious. Why did they bring this guy in here? Blah, 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 blah. None of that's important. What's important is Pat McAfee represents what's happening in sports media. He's the biggest podcaster as far as sports are concerned in the entire country. He has a giant audience. More people watch the Pat McAfee show or podcast or whatever you want to call it on a daily basis than all of those daytime TV shows on ESPN combined. And shout out to ESPN for recognizing this and going out and hiring him. Now, they had to fire a lot of people to make that happen to get the money to hire Pat McAfee and broadcast his show on ESPN, but nonetheless, they did it despite the scrutiny, despite his crudeness, despite the cussing, all of that kind of stuff. ESPN said, you know what? We see where this thing is going. The way that people, and this is coming directly from Pat McAfee's intro to his show, with the cussing and the crudeness, which is what we all see on YouTube, which is what we all see in the podcasting world. They finally realized this is the direction that things are going. This is what people watch. This is what people want to see. All the people out there are like, oh, I don't want to listen to anybody cuss. I might get my feelings hurt. That's how people talk in the real world, And shout out to ESPN for recognizing that and taking a chance on Pat McAfee. Again, this isn't about Pat McAfee, whether you like him or not. It's really about podcasting in general, this YouTube type arena that we all live in. It's just what people are consuming now. But the big question was, whenever they brought Pat McAfee on, was, oh, ESPN's going to be doing this with Pat McAfee. The Pat McAfee show is about to go into the dumps. It's not going to be any good anymore. I mean, you can't cuss on ESPN. You can't be himself. You can't talk about controversial subjects. You can't criticize, the Rona and the jab and whatever else. You can't talk bad about people, right? Well, all that went out the window today, didn't it? I don't know if you saw, but Pat McAfee, of course, is in Boulder, Colorado for the Colorado State game. That's where game day is. He's a part of game day. So he brought his traveling circus, the Pat McAfee Show, to Boulder, Colorado, and they did a live broadcast on set, on campus, sort of a game day type set, but not game day, Pat McAfee Show. And they brought on a bunch of different characters. They brought on Dion. Who else did they bring on there? I can't even remember who all they brought on there. I think they brought The Rock on there. Anyway, they brought a bunch of different people on there. But the question was, is Pat McAfee going to have to clean up his act and toe the company line for ESPN because they're paying him all this money? And a lot of people thought that he was going to like fold to the corporate pressure and sell out for money and not do Pat McAfee things for the almighty dollar. Well, this is the first time I've ever watched ESPN show a live broadcast like that, ever in my life. So the answer is no. Pat McAfee was not lying when he said we're not going to change a damn thing on this show. And that's the agreement he had with ESPN. And I expect that what you're going to see moving forward is that it's going to be extremely successful for ESPN because, again, shout out to them. They finally realized how dull their programming was and why so many people refuse to watch it. And they're getting into the younger generation, the podcasting listeners, the YouTube viewers, all of that. They're smart. I don't know whose idea this was at ESPN, but they need to get a raise. Because it's on the surface, it doesn't seem like something that you would think would work for ESPN. It's legacy media. But they figured it out now. And also what you're going to see now is, anytime anything's successful, you're going to see copycat. You're going to see Fox start to do this now. All the other major networks are going to try to tap into what ESPN is doing here with the Pat McAfee Show. So I got to say, I'm not about to start watching whatever other bull crap. I'm trying not to cuss. I almost did. Whatever other kind of bull crap, daytime programming, yelling back and forth about nonsense that nobody cares about shows on ESPN. But I'll watch the Pat McAfee Show if it's like what I just saw today. I'll watch that. I'll definitely watch it. I'm not somebody that like watches the Pat McAfee Show religiously or every day. I'm kind of indifferent. Like I think his show is entertaining. I think he's got a good thing going. But it was shocking to see him do his show, his normal podcast type show without any restrictions and broadcast it on ESPN. It was shocking. Anyway, that's it. Tell me what you think about this. Has legacy media finally figured out what's going on in the world? It seems as if ESPN has. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on this. Have a good day.